Admiral Deho stood on the bridge of the UES Perseverance, watching the massive alien structure grow larger on the main screen. After 3 months of deep space travel, they had finally found something that was clearly not human-made. The structure was enormous, easily the size of a small moon, with smooth curves and strange metals that seemed to shift color in the starlight. "Sir, we're getting energy readings unlike anything in our databases," said Chief Science Officer Somin from her station. Her voice carried excitement mixed with worry. "The power output is incredible. This thing could probably supply energy to half of Earth." Deho nodded slowly. For 50 years, humanity had been reaching out into space, hoping to find other intelligent life. They had found ruins, abandoned outposts, and mysterious artifacts, but never any living aliens. Every time they got close to something promising, it would simply shut down or disappear. "Take us closer," Deho ordered, "but keep our weapons ready just in case." As the Perseverance moved toward the structure, something strange happened. All the lights on the alien station began to dim. Within minutes, the entire structure went completely dark. The energy readings dropped to nothing. "What just happened?" Deho asked. Somin checked her instruments twice before answering. "Sir, it looks like the station detected us and then turned itself off. Completely offline." This was the same pattern they had seen dozens of times before. Whenever human ships approached alien technology, it would shut down. When they left, sometimes the technology would turn back on. It was like the entire galaxy was playing an elaborate game of pretending humans did not exist. On the other side of the galaxy, in a massive space station called Nexus Prime, 12 different alien species sat around a circular table. The station was ancient, built long before humans had even discovered fire. The beings around the table represented the most powerful civilizations in known space. "The humans have found another one of our monitoring stations," said Counselor Velthor, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms. "Station 7 Alpha went into isolation protocol when their ship approached." "Good," replied Counselor Zeph 9, whose body looked like it was made of living crystal. "The silence protocol remains intact. They still believe they are alone." The Galactic Council had created the silence protocol 300 years ago, when they first discovered humanity. Back then, humans had just learned to fly in primitive aircraft. The Council had watched as humans quickly developed more advanced technology. But they had also seen how violent and unpredictable humans could be. "The humans are still expanding," reported Counselor Macren, whose species looked somewhat like giant insects. "They now have colonies on 12 worlds and mining operations in 40 systems." "Let them expand into empty space," said Counselor Velthor. "As long as they do not encounter any of our people, the protocol holds. Eventually, they will burn themselves out or destroy each other, as young species always do." But one council member remained silent during this discussion. War Commander Taejun of the Cathari had been watching humanity for decades. His people were warriors, and he respected what he saw in human military exercises. Unlike the other council members, he did not think humans would simply destroy themselves. The Cathari looked somewhat like humans, but larger and stronger, with skin that had a slight green tint. They had been part of the council for over 1,000 years and were known throughout the galaxy as honorable warriors. "Counselor Taejun," said the council chancellor, a being so old that no one remembered which species he originally came from, "you have been quiet. Do you have concerns about the human situation?" Taejun chose his words carefully. "The humans show remarkable adaptability. Their technology improves faster than any species we have on record. Perhaps we should reconsider the protocol." The other council members made sounds of disapproval. Counselor Zeph9's crystal body glowed brighter with anger. "The protocol exists for good reason. Humans are too violent, too chaotic. Look at their history. They have spent thousands of years fighting each other over resources, beliefs, and territory." "All young species go through such phases," Taejun replied. "My own people were once the same." "Your people learned wisdom," said Velthor. "Humans show no signs of such growth. They continue to build weapons, train armies, and prepare for wars even in peacetime." Back on the Perseverance, Admiral Deho was meeting with his senior officers in the conference room. The failed contact with the alien station was just the latest in a long series of disappointments. "We've been out here for 3 years," said Captain Jin Woo, commander of the escort ship Soul's Pride. "Every time we find something interesting, it shuts down or runs away. It's like the entire galaxy is avoiding us on purpose. Maybe that's exactly what's happening, said So Min. Think about it. Every single piece of alien technology we've found shows signs of recent use, but they all go dormant when we approach. That's not a coincidence. Daeho had been thinking the same thing for months. You're suggesting there's some kind of organized effort to avoid contact with us? It would explain everything, So Min continued. The abandoned colonies that still have warm food in them, the ships that jump to hyperspace the moment they detect us, the stations that shut down when we get close. Someone out there knows about us and has decided to pretend we don't exist. The room fell silent as everyone considered this possibility. If So Min was right, it meant humanity was not alone in the galaxy. But it also meant that every other intelligent species had chosen to ignore them. Sir, said Jinwoo, if that's true, then we need to ask ourselves why. Why would advanced alien civilizations want to avoid contact with us? Daeho looked out the conference room window at the dark alien station. Maybe they're afraid of us. Afraid? Jinwoo laughed. We can barely travel between star systems. Our weapons are primitive compared to what we've seen. What could they possibly fear from us? I don't know, Daeho admitted. But if we're right about this, then we need to change our approach. Instead of trying to make contact, maybe we should focus on learning more about them. If they want to stay hidden, we need to get better at finding them. So Min nodded. I've been analyzing the energy signatures from all the alien technology we've encountered. There are patterns. If I'm right, I might be able to predict where to find more installations. Do it, Daeho ordered, and prepare detailed reports on everything we've learned. When we return to Earth, Command needs to know what we're really dealing with out here. As the Perseverance began its long journey home, none of the humans aboard realized how close they had come to changing galactic history. The station they had approached was not just a monitoring post. It was a communication hub that connected to every major alien civilization. Their arrival had triggered automatic alerts across dozens of worlds. Within hours, every member of the Galactic Council knew that humans were getting better at finding alien technology. The silence protocol was becoming harder to maintain. On Nexus Prime, emergency sessions were being called. Some council members wanted to increase security around human space. Others suggested moving all alien installations farther from human territories. But War Commander Tae-jun was thinking about something else entirely. His homeworld of Keth Prime had been dealing with a crisis that was getting worse every day. His people were proud and strong, but they were facing something that strength alone could not defeat. As he watched the reports about human technological advancement, Tae-jun began to wonder if the Council's policy of ignoring humanity was about to become a terrible mistake. Not because humans were dangerous, but because they might be exactly what the galaxy needed. The silence protocol had kept the peace for 3 centuries. But peace built on lies and fear was not real peace at all. And Tae-jun was beginning to suspect that the truth was about to come out, whether the Council wanted it or not. War Commander Tae-jun stood in the medical center on Keth Prime, watching his people die. The silent death had started 6 months ago as a minor illness affecting only a few thousand Cathari. Now it was spreading across the planet like wildfire, and their best scientists had no idea how to stop it. Commander, we've lost another district, reported bioscientist Hyojin, her voice heavy with exhaustion. She had been working for 18 hours straight like most of the medical staff. The disease is moving faster than we can contain it. At this rate, we have perhaps 6 months before total population collapse. Tae-jun looked through the medical center windows at the city beyond. Keith Prime had once been home to over 2 billion Cathari. Now entire neighborhoods stood empty, their residents either dead or evacuated to quarantine zones that were failing one by one. The silent death was unlike anything the Cathari had ever encountered. It attacked the body's ability to fight off any infection or disease. Victims would seem healthy one day, then develop minor cuts or bruises that refused to heal. Within weeks, their bodies would simply give up, overwhelmed by infections that should have been harmless. What about the treatments from the Velthari? Tae-jun asked. The Velthari were master healers, known throughout the galaxy for their medical knowledge. Complete failure, Hyojin replied. Their medicine works on their biology, not ours. The Crystalline Collective offered their genetic repair technology, but it made the disease worse. Commander, I hate to say this, but our allies in the Council cannot help us. Their biology is too different from ours. Tae-jun felt a weight settle in his chest. The Cathari had been proud members of the Galactic Council for over 1,000 years. They had fought in the Council's wars, protected smaller species, and helped maintain peace across dozens of star systems. Now, when they needed help the most, that same diversity that made the Council strong was working against them. "There must be something," Taejun said. "Some species we haven't asked yet." Ye-jin hesitated before answering. "Actually, sir, there might be. I've been studying genetic databases from across the galaxy, looking for species with biology similar enough to ours that their medicine might work. And I found one species with remarkable genetic compatibility. Their immune systems work almost exactly like ours. Their medical research focuses on exactly the kind of problems we're facing." Taejun felt hope rise in his chest. "Which species? The Macaran? The Zeph-9? "No, sir," Ye-jin said quietly. "Humans." The hope died immediately. Taejun stepped back from the window, his mind racing. Of all the species in the galaxy, the one that might save his people was the one species the Council had sworn never to contact. "Are you certain?" he asked. "I've run the analysis dozens of times," Ye-jin said. "Human genetic structure is incredibly similar to ours. More importantly, their medical research focuses heavily on immune system disorders and genetic diseases. They've solved problems that even the Council's most advanced species consider impossible." Taejun walked to his command console and called up the latest reports on human activity. For months, he had been reading these reports as part of his Council duties. Now he was reading them with new eyes. Humans had eliminated most diseases on their homeworld. They had developed genetic therapies that could repair damaged DNA. Most impressively, they had created treatments for immune system failures that were remarkably similar to what the Silent Death was doing to his people. "How long would it take to reach human space?" Taejun asked. "Sir?" Ye-jin looked shocked. "You're not seriously considering—" "How long?" Taejun repeated. 3 weeks by fast courier ship," Ye-jin answered slowly. "But Commander, the Silence Protocol—" "The Silence Protocol is killing my people," Taejun said firmly. "If there's a chance that humans can help us, then we have to try." Ye-jin stared at him. "Sir, the Council will consider this treason. They'll expel us from the Alliance. They might even use military force against us." "Then we'll face that when it happens," Taejun replied. "But I will not let my people die to protect a 300-year-old policy that serves no purpose but fear." That night, Taejun stood in his private chambers, looking at a communication device that could reach the Council. He could contact Chancellor Chang-min and request an emergency session. He could ask the Council to make an exception to the Silence Protocol, just this once, to save the Cathari people. But he knew what the answer would be. The Council feared humans too much to risk any contact, even to save an ally. They would express sympathy for the Cathari situation, offer resources that had already failed, and suggest that perhaps this was simply the natural end of his species. Taejun had seen it happen before. When the Mordak faced extinction from a cosmic radiation event, the Council had offered sympathy and memorials. When the Yathara homeworld was destroyed by a stellar collapse, the Council had provided refugee ships and new colony worlds, but they had never risked the stability of the galaxy to save a single species. The difference was that this time, salvation was possible. It was just forbidden. Taejun made his decision. Instead of calling the Council, he activated his personal communication system and sent a coded message to his most trusted ship commander. "Fleet Captain Yu-jin, report to my chambers immediately. We have a mission that requires absolute secrecy." Yu-jin arrived within minutes. She was one of the youngest Cathari to achieve fleet command, but she was also one of the most capable. More importantly, Taejun knew she would follow orders even if those orders went against Council law. "Commander, you wanted to see me?" "Yu-jin, how do you feel about the Silence Protocol?" The question clearly surprised her. "Sir, I follow Council law as all Cathari do." "That's not what I asked," Taejun said. "I asked how you feel about it." Yu-jin considered her words carefully. "Sir, I think it's based on fear rather than wisdom. The humans I've observed through our monitoring system seem no more violent than any other young species, perhaps less so than some. Would you be willing to make contact with them if it meant saving our people?" Yu-jin's eyes widened. "Commander, that would be a violation of our most sacred laws." "Yes, it would," Taejun agreed. "It would also be the right thing to do." He explained the situation to Yu-jin, showing her Ye-jin's research and the projected timeline for the extinction of their species. He showed her the human medical advances that could potentially save millions of Cathari lives. The choice is simple, Taejun concluded. We can follow the law and watch our people die, or we can break the law and try to save them. Yoo-jin stood silently for several minutes, processing everything she had heard. Finally, she looked up at her commander. What do you need me to do? 3 days later, a small Cathari science vessel called the Harmony left Keth Prime on what appeared to be a routine research mission. The ship's official log showed a destination in an uninhabited star system, where they would study cosmic radiation effects. The ship's real destination was the edge of human space, where intelligence reports indicated a human medical research vessel was conducting experiments on genetic diseases. Aboard the Harmony, bioscientist Hyejin worked frantically to prepare samples of the silent death pathogen and complete medical records of affected Cathari. She had no idea if humans would be willing to help, or even if they would be able to communicate with aliens they had never met. But for the first time in months, she felt hope. Fleet Captain Yoo-jin sat on the bridge of the Harmony, watching the stars stream past in hyperspace. With each passing hour, they moved further from Council space and closer to the unknown. She was about to become either the savior of her species or the most wanted criminal in galactic history. Either way, there was no turning back now. The Silence Protocol had kept the galaxy stable for 3 centuries. In 3 weeks, that stability was about to end forever. Dr. Wu Jin was analyzing genetic samples in his laboratory aboard the research vessel New Horizon when the proximity alarms began sounding. After 6 months of peaceful research in the empty Kepler 442 system, any contact was unusual. Contact from an unknown vessel was unprecedented. Dr. Wu Jin to the bridge, please, came the announcement over the ship's communication system. Priority 1. Wu Jin quickly secured his samples and headed to the bridge. The New Horizon was a civilian research vessel, equipped with the latest medical and genetic research equipment but minimal weapons. If something dangerous was approaching, their only option was to run. What's the situation? Wu Jin asked as he entered the bridge. Captain Moon Seo, a veteran of Earth's merchant marine, pointed at the main display. Unknown vessel, approaching from the direction of the galactic core. Design unlike anything in our databases. And Doctor, it's sending a signal. What kind of signal? Audio transmission. In perfect Korean. Wu Jin felt his heart skip a beat. For decades, humanity had been trying to make contact with alien civilizations. Every attempt had failed, with alien technology simply shutting down or disappearing when humans approached. Now apparently an alien ship was trying to communicate with them. Put it through, Wu Jin ordered. The bridge speakers crackled to life, and a voice spoke in slightly accented but clearly understandable Korean. Human vessel New Horizon. This is Fleet Captain Yoo Jin of the Cathari science ship Harmony. We request permission to approach and communicate. We come seeking help. The bridge fell silent. After a moment, Captain Moon Seo looked at Wu Jin. Doctor, you're the senior civilian aboard. This is your call, Wu Jin thought quickly. Everything about this situation was unprecedented. But the voice had said they were seeking help, and helping people was exactly why he had become a doctor. This is Dr. Wu Jin of the New Horizon. You have permission to approach, but please understand that we are a research vessel with limited defensive capabilities. We understand, Dr. Wu Jin. We are also a research vessel, and we come in peace. We will transmit our medical emergency data to demonstrate our intentions. Within minutes, the New Horizon's computers received a massive data package containing detailed medical information. Wu Jin reviewed it quickly, his excitement growing with each file he opened. Captain, they're dealing with a genetic immune disorder that's wiping out their entire species. But look at this. Wu Jin pulled up a comparison chart. Their genetic structure is remarkably similar to human DNA. More similar than any other species we've theorized about. Can we help them? Possibly, Wu Jin said. I'd need to examine actual samples and work with their medical team. But based on this data, I think we might be able to develop a treatment. 2 hours later, representatives from both ships met in the New Horizon's main conference room. The moment the Cathari delegation entered, Wu Jin was struck by how human-like they appeared. Taller and stronger than humans, with greenish skin, but clearly intelligent beings with similar facial expressions and body language. I am bioscientist Hyejin, said the lead Cathari delegate. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us. We realize this contact violates many galactic laws. Galactic laws? Asked Captain Moon SEO. We didn't know there were any galactic laws. Hyejin and Yujin exchanged glances. You are not aware of the Galactic Council? We've suspected that other civilizations exist, said Wu Jin. But we've never made contact with any of them. Every time we try, alien technology shuts down or disappears. That is because of the Silence Protocol, Yujin explained. For 300 years, all Council species have been forbidden to make contact with humanity. Why? Moon Seo asked. Fear, Yujin said simply. The Council believes humans are too violent and unpredictable to be trusted. Wu Jin felt anger rise in his chest, but he pushed it down. There would be time to deal with galactic politics later. Right now, people were dying. Tell me about your medical situation, he said to Hyejin. For the next several hours, the two scientists worked together, sharing data and comparing research. Wu Jin was amazed by the sophistication of Cathari medical technology, while Hyejin was impressed by human genetic engineering techniques. I think we can help you, Wu Jin finally announced. The silent death attacks your immune system in a very specific way. We've dealt with similar disorders in humans. I believe we can modify our treatment protocols to work with Cathari biology. How long would it take? Hyejin asked. Working together? Perhaps 2 weeks to develop a working treatment. Another week to test it and prepare for mass production. Hyejin's relief was obvious. Dr. Wu Jin, you may have just saved my entire species. But their celebration was interrupted by an urgent communication from Yujin's ship. Fleet Captain, we're receiving priority transmissions from Keth Prime. The Council has discovered our mission. Yujin's expression hardened. What are our orders? Return immediately for disciplinary action. Any delay will be considered an act of rebellion against the Council. The conference room fell silent. Finally, Moon Seo spoke up. What happens if you go back? Court-martial for violating the Silence Protocol, Yujin replied. Probably execution for treason. And if you stay, the Council will send warships to retrieve us or destroy us. Wu Jin looked around the table at the faces of both human and Cathari delegates. These beings had risked everything to save their people, and now they were being ordered to abandon that mission or face death. How long before Council ships arrive? Wu Jin asked. Yujin checked her communication device. Based on our location, at least 4 days. Then we work fast, Wu Jin decided. We have 4 days to develop a treatment and get it to your people. Dr. Wu Jin, Hyejin said softly, you don't understand what you're agreeing to. When the Council arrives, they won't just take us. They'll destroy any evidence of contact with humanity. That includes your ship and crew. Then we'd better make sure the treatment works, Wu Jin replied firmly. Captain Moon Seo nodded in agreement. Doctor's right. We didn't come out here to play it safe. We came to push the boundaries of human knowledge and help people. Both of those goals apply here. Over the next 3 days, teams of human and Cathari scientists worked around the clock. They combined human genetic therapy techniques with Cathari biotechnology to create a treatment that could stop the silent death. The work was incredible. Humans brought creativity and adaptability to problems that had stumped Cathari scientists for months. The Cathari brought sophisticated biological knowledge and technology that advanced human understanding by decades. It's working, Hyejin announced on the 3rd day. Laboratory tests show the treatment can completely halt the disease progression and begin repairing damaged immune systems. How much can we produce? Asked Wu Jin. Enough for about 10,000 people, Hyejin replied. But with the production data, Cathari medical facilities can manufacture more. Yujin checked her tactical displays. Council ships will arrive in 18 hours. We need to leave for Keth Prime now if we want to deliver the treatment. Go, Wu Jin said. Take everything you need. What about you? Hyejin asked. The Council ships will find you here. Wu Jin smiled. Let them come. We have a lot to discuss with them. As the Cathari ship prepared to leave, Yujin approached Captain Moon Seo. Why are you doing this? You could run. Your ship is fast enough to escape before the Council arrives. Moon Seo looked through the window at the stars. Because it's the right thing to do. And because someone needs to tell your Council that their silence protocol is based on lies. 6 hours later, the Harmony jumped to hyperspace carrying the cure for the silent death back to Keth Prime. Left behind in the empty system, the crew of the New Horizon prepared to meet the Galactic Council fleet. They were about to become the first humans in 3 centuries to have official contact with alien civilizations. The contact would not be peaceful, but the silence protocol was already broken. And once broken, some things could never be repaired. Admiral Jamin of the Council Enforcement Fleet stared at his tactical display with growing confusion. The human research vessel New Horizon sat exactly where intelligence reports had predicted, but something was very wrong with the situation. "Sir, we're detecting 17 additional ships in the system," reported his tactical officer. "They appear to be human military vessels." "How is that possible?" Jamin demanded. "Our intelligence said there was only one research ship." The tactical officer checked his readings again. "Sir, the additional ships jumped into the system approximately 6 hours ago. They're positioned in a defensive formation around the research vessel." Jamin studied the display more carefully. The human ships were smaller than his council dreadnoughts, but there were many of them, and they were arranged with a precision that suggested serious military training. "Open a communication channel," Jamin ordered. "Let's see what these humans have to say for themselves." The main screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the human research vessel. A human in a white coat stood in the center of the screen, flanked by several others in military uniforms. "I am Dr. Wu Jin of the Earth research vessel New Horizon," the human said calmly. "To whom am I speaking?" "I am Admiral Jamin of the Galactic Council Enforcement Fleet," Jamin replied. "You are in violation of the silence protocol. Surrender immediately and prepare to be taken into custody." The human called Wu Jin smiled slightly. "Admiral, with respect, we don't recognize the authority of your Galactic Council. Earth was never consulted when your silence protocol was created. Your recognition is not required," Jamin said firmly. "The protocol exists for the safety and stability of all galactic civilization." "Including the Cathari?" Wu Jin asked. "Because we just helped save them from extinction. Something your council apparently couldn't do." Jamin felt anger rising in his chest. "The Cathari violated sacred law by contacting you. They will face appropriate consequences." "What consequences?" asked one of the humans in military uniform. Jamin noticed the insignia indicated high rank. "Execution for trying to save their own species?" "The law is the law," Jamin replied. "Individual species cannot be allowed to act independently when it threatens galactic stability. Then your galactic stability is built on a foundation of oppression and fear," the military human said. "I'm Fleet Admiral Dong Hyun of the Earth Defense Force, and I'm here to tell you that your silence protocol ends today." Jamin was shocked by the human's boldness. "You are outnumbered and outgunned. My fleet consists of 12 dreadnoughts with technology far superior to anything humanity possesses." "Are you sure about that?" Admiral Dong Hyun asked. Before Jamin could respond, his tactical officer spoke urgently. "Sir, we're detecting weapons lock from multiple human vessels. Their targeting systems are— Sir, they've penetrated our defensive screens." "Impossible," Jamin said. "Our ships have energy shields that can deflect any known weapons." "Sir, I'm reading massive energy buildups on 17 human ships. Whatever weapons they're charging, they're not in our database." Jamin looked back at the screen. Admiral Dong Hyun was watching him with calm, professional interest. "Admiral Jamin," Dong Hyun said, "for 3 centuries, your council has treated humanity like children who couldn't be trusted with sharp objects. During those 3 centuries, we've been developing technology to defend ourselves in a hostile universe. We've assumed that when we finally met aliens, they might not be friendly." "Are you threatening us?" Jamin asked. "I'm informing you," Dong Hyun replied. "Withdraw your fleet and open negotiations or discover exactly how advanced human weapons technology has become." Jamin cut the communication and turned to his fleet commanders. "Status report. What are we facing?" "Admiral, the human weapons are unlike anything we've encountered," reported his science officer. "They appear to use focused gravitational fields rather than energy beams. Our shields are designed to deflect energy, not gravitational distortion. Can we counter them?" "Not with current systems, sir. We would need to completely reconfigure our defensive arrays." Jamin felt a cold sensation in his stomach. The Council had spent 3 centuries dismissing humanity as primitive and violent. They had never considered that humanity might actually be competent. "Sir," his communications officer said urgently, "we're receiving a transmission from Keth Prime. The Cathari are broadcasting that they have a cure for the silent death. They're crediting human medical assistance." "What?" Jamin turned to stare at his officer. That's impossible. The silent death has stumped our best medical scientists for months. Sir, the Cathari are providing detailed data on the cure. It appears to be a combination of human genetic therapy and Cathari biotechnology. Early tests show complete effectiveness. Jamin felt the situation slipping away from him. His mission was to enforce the silence protocol and eliminate any evidence of human contact. But if the humans had actually helped save the Cathari species, the political implications were staggering. "Admiral," his tactical officer called out, "the human fleet is moving into attack formation." On the main screen, Jamin could see the human ships repositioning themselves. Their movements were precise and coordinated, showing a level of tactical sophistication that the Council had never credited to humanity. "Sir, should I order the fleet to defensive positions?" Jamin hesitated. If he withdrew, he would be abandoning his mission and possibly facing court-martial when he returned to Council space. If he attacked, he would be starting a war with a species that might be more dangerous than anyone had imagined. His decision was made for him when proximity alarms began sounding throughout his flagship. "Admiral," his tactical officer shouted, "human boarding craft have somehow penetrated our shields and docked with ships throughout the fleet." "How is that possible?" "I don't know, sir. The craft seem to be using some kind of phase-shifting technology. They're materializing inside our defensive perimeters." On the tactical display, Jamin watched as indicators showed unauthorized entries on 11 of his 12 ships. The human boarding parties were moving through his vessels with impossible speed and precision. "Security teams to repel boarders," Jamin ordered. "All ships prepare for internal combat." But even as he gave the orders, Jamin knew they were too late. Reports flooded in from across his fleet. Human soldiers were taking control of critical systems with minimal casualties on either side. They moved like they had complete knowledge of Council ship layouts and defensive systems. "Sir," his communications officer said in amazement, "the humans are demanding surrender, not destruction. They're offering to accept our unconditional surrender and guarantee the safety of all crew members." Jamin stared at the tactical display. In less than 30 minutes, humanity had demonstrated weapon technology that could penetrate Council defenses, boarding technology that could bypass Council security, and tactical skills that had overwhelmed a fleet of the galaxy's most advanced warships. "Admiral," came a voice from his ship's communication system, "this is Major Sun Ho of the Earth Special Forces. Your bridge is now under our control. Please order your remaining ships to stand down." Jamin turned to see human soldiers in advanced armor standing at every entrance to his bridge. None of his crew had been harmed, but they were clearly captured. "How did you get aboard my ship?" Jamin asked. "We've had 3 centuries to study Council technology from a distance," Major Sun Ho replied. "We know your ships better than you do." Admiral Dong Hyun's voice came through the communication system. "Admiral Jamin, this is your final warning. Order your fleet to surrender, or we will be forced to take more aggressive action." Jamin looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They looked to him for leadership, but what leadership could he provide? His fleet had been captured by a species the Council had dismissed as primitive. "All ships," Jamin said slowly. "This is Admiral Jamin. Stand down and surrender to human forces." Within hours, the news spread across the galaxy. A Council enforcement fleet had not just been defeated by humans, it had been captured almost entirely intact. For the first time in galactic history, the Council's military supremacy had been challenged and found wanting. On Keth Prime, War Commander Taijun received reports of both the human victory and the success of the silent death cure. His people were celebrating in the streets as the cure began saving lives across the planet. The silence protocol had been more than broken. It had been shattered completely, and there was no way to put the pieces back together. The galaxy was about to discover what humanity was truly capable of when they stopped being ignored and started being respected. The Great Assembly Hall of Nexus Prime had never seen anything like it. For the first time in 3 centuries, a human stood at the speaker's podium, addressing the full Galactic Council. Ambassador Boram looked calm and professional as she waited for the hall to quiet down. But every council member present knew they were witnessing the end of an era. "Honored councilors," Boram began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber, "I come before you not as a supplicant seeking entry to your council, but as a representative of humanity, requesting that we discuss the future of galactic civilization as equals." Angry sounds erupted from several sections of the chamber. Counselor Velthor stood up, his forearms gesturing angrily. You have no right to speak here. Your species violated the silence protocol. You captured Council military vessels. Counselor Velthor, Boram replied calmly. Humanity was never consulted when the silence protocol was created. We did not agree to be ignored, isolated, and treated as dangerous children. And when one of your member species came to us for help, we responded as any civilized people would. War Commander Taijun rose from his seat in the Cathari section. Honored counselors, I must speak. The humans saved my people from extinction. The silent death that was killing millions of Cathari has been stopped, thanks to human medical knowledge and human willingness to help. You violated sacred law, shouted Counselor Zeph-9, her crystal body glowing brighter with anger. The protocol exists to protect galactic stability. The protocol exists to protect galactic fear, Taijun replied firmly. For months I watched my people die while the Council offered sympathy but no real help. The humans offered real help within days of learning about our situation. Chancellor Chang Min, ancient and wise, gestured for silence. War Commander Taijun, your violation of the protocol has created an unprecedented crisis. Admiral Jamin's fleet was not just defeated, it was captured intact. How do you propose we deal with this situation? Boram stepped forward. Chancellor, if I may address that question, the captured Council fleet is being treated well. All crew members are safe and unharmed. We will return the ships and their crews as a gesture of good faith, provided the Council agrees to formal negotiations about humanity's place in galactic civilization. And if we refuse? Asked Counselor Makren. Boram's expression remained calm, but her words carried weight. Then you will discover that 3 centuries of isolation have made humanity very good at taking care of ourselves. We don't need the Council's permission to exist, Counselor. We're offering to cooperate. Kyungsu, the Cathari representative, stood beside Taijun. Counselors, I have spent the last month working with human scientists and diplomats. I have seen their technology, their medical knowledge, and their capacity for both cooperation and self-defense. The Council faces a choice. Embrace humanity as allies or face them as opponents. What are you suggesting? Chancellor Changmin asked. I'm suggesting that the silence protocol was based on fear and incomplete information, Kyungsu replied. Yes, humans can be violent when threatened, but they can also be generous, creative, and loyal to their allies. The Cathari are alive today because humans were willing to risk their own safety to help strangers. Counselor Velthor stood again. Even if we accept that humans can be helpful, they are still too unpredictable. Their military capabilities are clearly more advanced than we realized. How can we trust them? Boram smiled slightly. Counselor, you've been watching humanity for 3 centuries without our knowledge. You've seen our wars, our conflicts, our mistakes, but you've also seen us grow, learn, and improve. Has any human military force ever attacked an alien target without provocation? The question hung in the chamber air. Every Council member knew the answer. Despite centuries of observation, humanity had never shown aggression toward alien civilizations. Even when provoked by the silence protocol, humans had responded with defensive measures rather than attacks. Furthermore, Boram continued, the Cathari situation proves that cooperation between species can achieve results that isolated species cannot. Human medical knowledge combined with Cathari biotechnology created a cure in weeks that neither species could have developed alone. Dr. Wu Jin, who had been invited to speak as a technical expert, stepped forward. Counselors, I've had the privilege of working with Cathari scientists. The collaboration was remarkable. We learned as much from them as they learned from us. Imagine what could be accomplished if all Council species shared knowledge instead of hoarding it. Chancellor Changmin leaned forward in his ancient chair. Dr. Wu Jin, are you suggesting that the Council's structure is flawed? I'm suggesting that the Council's potential is limited by fear and tradition, Wu Jin replied. Humanity brings new perspectives, new technologies, and new ways of solving problems. We don't seek to dominate or control. We seek to participate and contribute. The chamber fell silent as Council members considered this. For 3 centuries, the Galactic Council had maintained peace through careful balance and established traditions. The idea of adding an unpredictable element like humanity was terrifying to many members. Counselor Zeph-9 spoke first. Even if we accept humans into galactic civilization, how do we know they won't destabilize everything we've built? How do you know we won't improve it? Boram replied. Counselor, your civilization has been stable for centuries, but has it been growing? Has it been solving new problems? Has it been reaching its potential? Tejun stood again. Counselors, the Kethari have been members of this council for over 1,000 years. In all that time, we have never seen innovation like what the humans showed us in 3 weeks. They didn't just solve our medical crisis, they showed us new ways of thinking about medical problems. And what about military concerns? Asked Counselor Macren. The humans defeated a council enforcement fleet. In self-defense, Boram pointed out. Admiral Jamin came to destroy human ships and capture human crews. We responded with precisely the minimum force necessary to defend ourselves. No council personnel were killed or seriously injured. Admiral Dong Hyun, who had been standing quietly near the back of the chamber, spoke up. Counselors, if humanity wanted to conquer the galaxy, we would have started by destroying Admiral Jamin's fleet, not capturing it. We returned your ships and crews unharmed because we seek cooperation, not domination. Chancellor Changmin looked around the chamber at the faces of the council members. Some showed fear, others curiosity, and a few showed what might have been hope. Ambassador Boram, the Chancellor said slowly, what exactly is humanity proposing? Formal recognition as a galactic civilization, Boram replied. Membership in the Council with full rights and responsibilities. Open trade and diplomatic relations with all Council species. And an end to the Silence Protocol. And in return, we share our technology, our knowledge, and our capabilities with all Council members. We contribute to galactic security and stability. We help solve problems that threaten any member species. Kyung-soo stepped forward again. Counselors, the Kethari formally sponsor humanity's application for Council membership. We have seen their character, their capabilities, and their commitment to helping others. They have earned our trust and our support. The vote, when it finally came, was closer than many had expected. 7 species voted in favor of accepting humanity into the Council. 4 voted against. 1 abstained. It was enough. As the results were announced, Boram felt a weight lift from her shoulders. After 3 centuries of isolation, humanity had finally taken its place among the stars. Welcome to the Galactic Council, Chancellor Changmin said formally. May this mark the beginning of a new era of cooperation and growth for all our civilizations. 5 years later, Keth Prime was a thriving world again, its population healthy and growing. The joint human Kethari medical research stations had become the most advanced in known space, developing cures and treatments that benefited species across the galaxy. The Silence Protocol was now remembered as a historical mistake, a reminder of what happened when fear ruled over wisdom. In its place was something new, a galactic civilization that embraced diversity, innovation, and cooperation. And at the center of it all was an unlikely alliance between 2 species, one that had been willing to break unjust laws to save lives, and another that had been willing to risk everything to help strangers in need. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is ignore a problem, and sometimes the best allies are the ones you never expected to find.